It all started in a California garage, and now Apple is celebrating its 50th anniversary. On April 1st, 1976, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne founded the Apple Computer Company. Its first product was the Apple I personal computer, a home computer designed to be more accessible and affordable for everyday people. And while the company found success with computers, it was the iPhone that started it on its way toward eventually being worth more than $3 trillion. For more, let's bring in CBS News contributor Patrick McGee. He's also the author of the New York Times bestseller, Apple in China. Patrick, thank you for being here. So your book breaks down the codependent relationship between Apple and China when it comes to manufacturing. Can you explain that for us?
Yes, I mean, Apple's this wildly innovative company, and when they're celebrating 50 years, of course, what they'll be focused on is the products. And most of us know them. They're either on our desk, they're in our pockets. And I'm more interested in sort of the story behind how they actually build those products. And of course, they're largely built in China, which over the last 2 decades has become the largest adversary to America. So it's a strange situation where the world's most iconic company is caught in a superpower battle between Washington and Beijing.
Well, and Apple over the years has just poured billions and billions of dollars, trained workers there to manufacture these, even trained them to help with the competition as well. What are you following in terms of what is next with that push and pull?
So what I'm most interested in is how Apple is such an innovative company and, of course, at a gargantuan scale. So if you think about the last 50 years, the most important years are clearly the decade when Steve Jobs comes back and becomes CEO for the first time in 1997. And a decade later, you have the iPhone. And of course, that's after the iMac, the iBook, PowerBook, the iPod, the iPod Nano, et cetera, right? Wildly innovative company. And I've just asked the basic, mundane, almost unglamorous question, how did they do it? And I find that they have this really interesting method where they will scour the globe and find the best suppliers of new componentry coming out of Japan, coming out of Switzerland. They'll find niche companies that are doing something interesting with Rolex watches or Leica cameras, right? And they're able to sort of use the lure of an iPhone order, right? The idea that a component supplier might be able to work on something that is going to be built in the volumes of hundreds of millions per year. And they're able to, in a sense, extract the manufacturing DNA of those companies, take ownership of the full IP. And what that allows them to do is reverse engineer and scale the processes in China with multiple suppliers so that they're not dependent on anyone. And this is how they've been wildly innovative. And I think it's a pretty fascinating and unlooked at story.
Is it innovative if other companies are already doing it?
Well, no, well, that's a good question. So they find competent suppliers that are doing something interesting, but then they have to adapt those processes and they push them even further. I was actually just speaking to someone from Apple, and they said, if we came up with a new design, went to our suppliers and said, this is what we need to do, and they said, great, we know how to do that, they would be disappointed, right, Apple? Because if a supplier can already do what they've designed, then they're not pushing hard enough.
Patrick McGee, we shall talk again. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay.